It is Sunday night, and you know what that means. Another episode of In the Kitchen with Tom, or as they call me in Budapest, Tomas. Now, I don't know about another episode, but I'm going to cook something, and I'm going to cook something that is nagyon finom, as they would say if you were sitting down after wrapping up a dinner in a restaurant in Budapest, or perhaps at Anyu's kitchen table. Anyu meaning mother. And this is a recipe that my mother, bless her heart, used to make for us kids growing up. When I was growing up outside of Cleveland, Ohio, my father was Hungarian. And I don't know if my mom did this out of the kindness of her heart, or maybe she actually liked this dish, or it was easy to make. I don't know. But nonetheless, my mom wasn't Hungarian. My mom is Irish and Scottish. And I don't know how they say Irish in Hungarian, but in Hungary they would say skot, I think, skot. But anyway, enough suspense. So tonight we are going to make chicken paprikash. Doesn't that roll off the tongue nice? Chicken paprikash. Or in Hungary they'd say csirke. I think csirke is I think Hungarian for chicken, and polja I think is turkey, and maha is beef. And what is pork? Boy, you'd think I'd know pork as much as they like pork over in Hungary. Alexa, how do you say pork in Hungarian?
I don't speak Hungarian yet, so I sent the translation to your Alexa app.
Sent the translation to my Alexa app. Well, that's new. But anyway, it doesn't. I guess it doesn't matter. You can look that up. You can look that up yourself as well, unless I can pull it up here on my phone. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about how you speak, how you say, about how you say pork in Hungarian. But anyway, so I am cooking with this cookbook. This has become my go-to cookbook right here. This is the Cook's Illustrated. Cook's Illustrated, and 2,000 recipes from 20 years of America's most trusted food magazine. And what's interesting about this cookbook is they preface just about every recipe, if not every recipe, with a little description that says why this recipe works. And why this chicken paprikash recipe works is chicken paprikash should be an easy to make braise with succulent chicken, a balance of heat, spice, and aromatics, and a rich, flavorful sauce with paprika at center stage. To get to this goal, we pared down the usual mile-long ingredient list. After browning chicken thighs, we ditched the skin so the sauce wouldn't become greasy. Sautéing a handful of aromatics and vegetables in the fond led to a rich base for our sauce, which we enhanced with paprika twice. Once while sautéing the vegetables to let its flavor bloom, then once again after adding sour cream to the dish, to finish the dish and instill it with spicy richness. So this recipe we're making, it serves four, and they say you should serve it with rice, mashed potatoes, or buttered egg noodles. And I was looking online, and I saw that they would serve it with spaetzle or spaetzle, something like that, which is nothing more than flour with some egg and I think salt dropped into boiling water. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the ingredients. When I cook something like this, I do go by the recipe. A lot of people may not, but I go by the recipe. So usually when I'm going to cook something like this, I like to lay out all my ingredients first. Pre-measured, pre-cut, pre-diced, pre-chopped, all that stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at the recipe for Cook Illustrated's chicken paprikash. And these would be the ingredients for our chicken paprikash. You have 8 bone-in chicken thighs that are trimmed. You see I've got those right there. Then I also have some salt and pepper. It calls for 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil, 1 large onion that has been halved and sliced thin, and you can see how I slice that right there. And then it also calls for a green and a red pepper that are halved widthwise and cut into 1/4 inch stripes, or strips I should say. And then you have your paprika, which 3.5 tablespoons. And I actually have some paprika from Hungary, you can see, from Szeged, which is just a wonderful city south of Budapest. A tablespoon of all-purpose flour right next to the paprika. 1/4 teaspoon of dried marjoram. And I actually have that on a beautiful little saucer that is also from Hungary. 1/2 cup of dry white wine, and I wasn't sure about dry white wine, so I googled it in the supermarket, and Sauvignon Blanc would be an excellent dry wine to use. And then we're going to have 1 can, 14.5 ounces of diced tomatoes that are drained, and we will have 1/3 of a cup of sour cream, and also 2 tablespoons of fresh chopped parsley, which I've got in that little jar right there. So there is the fixings for what I hope is going to be a wonderful, wonderful dinner here on a Sunday night. Let's get cooking. And we are underway. The first thing that you want to do is preheat the oven to 300 degrees and put the rack to the lower middle position. And then you want to season both sides of the chicken with salt and pepper, which I've done. I've got both sides of the chicken nicely seasoned with salt and pepper. And the next thing that you want to do is you want to heat oil in a Dutch oven. The oil being 1 teaspoon of vegetable oil. So I have the oil heating up here. You want to heat the oil just to a shimmer over medium-high heat. And then what comes next is you're going to add 4 chicken thighs skin side down and cook without moving until the skin is crisp and well browned, about 5 minutes. Using tongs, flip the chicken and brown on the second side about 5 minutes longer. Transfer to a large plate. Repeat with the remaining 4 chicken thighs and transfer to a plate. Set aside. When chicken is cool enough to handle, remove and discard skin. Discard all but 1 tablespoon of fat from the pan. So let's get started. We are right at 5 minutes on the skin side down, and you can see the fat that is in there. You see I had only started with a tablespoon of vegetable oil, but I don't think I'll have any problem getting some fat into the Dutch oven as we proceed. So I'm going to flip these over another 5 minutes and then do the remaining chicken. Continuing on, the recipe says after the chicken has cooked, and I've got that all nice and browned. I'll be removing the skin here shortly, but it says to put the onions in the Dutch oven. I removed all but 1 tablespoon of the fat, and then the recipe says to put on a happy face. You see? So I'm going to cook the onions for the better part of, it says to cook them for about 5 to 7 minutes until they're softened, stirring occasionally. So I'm going to let those cook for just a little bit, and when they're done cooking, we are going to add the bell peppers and cook, stirring occasionally until onions are browned and peppers are softened, about another 3 minutes. So we'll be back. And the onions cooked about 5 or 6 minutes, and they softened up. And now I've added the bell pepper, the red bell pepper and the green bell pepper that were halved widthwise and cut into 1/4 inch strips, not stripes, strips. And I'm going to go ahead and let these cook about 3 minutes. It says add the bell pepper and cook, stirring occasionally until onions are browned and peppers are softened. About 3 minutes. As you can see, I took the skin off the chicken breast that had been cooked, or the chicken thighs, I should say, not to confuse you. And the onions and the bell peppers have now been cooking about 3 or 4 minutes, and the onions are browned and the bell peppers are soft. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 of the 3.5 tablespoons of paprika, just like that. 1 tablespoon of flour, and the marjoram, which I believe was a teaspoon of the marjoram. And with this, you want to just stir this constantly for about a minute, such as I'm doing here. So we're going to stir this, and then the next step will be to add the wine. It says to stir this constantly until fragrant. And boy, I don't think you can smell that paprika, but I sure can. So I'm just going to cook that for just a little bit longer, and then I'm going to add the wine. The next step is to add the dry white wine, which I'll go ahead and do. So it says to add the wine, scraping up the brown bits from the bottom of the pot. Stir in the tomatoes and 1 teaspoon of salt. So we'll see if we can't get all of those brown bits from the bottom of the pan. Oh, goodness gracious. This smells really good, folks. It really does. It smells just absolutely fantastic. All right. So now I'm going to add the I don't know if I got all the bits from the bottom of the pan, but I got a good certainly got a good portion of them. That's for sure. So let's next step is to add the tomatoes. 14.5 ounce of diced tomatoes that have been drained. And then it asks for a teaspoon of salt to help the medicine go down. Oh no, that's sugar, I think. It's a teaspoon of sugar that helps the medicine go down. All right, so now I'm going to stir all this up. It says to stir in the tomatoes and a teaspoon of salt and add the chicken and any accumulated juices. So we will do that now. We're going to add the chicken and any accumulated juices. So let's do that. There goes your chicken. Just like that. And it says submerging them in the vegetables. Bring to a simmer, then cover and place the pot in the oven. Cook until the chicken is no longer pink when cut into with a paring knife. About 30 minutes. So I'm going to cover these in the vegetables. We'll submerge these in the vegetables and then cover it. And while that's cooking in the oven for 30 minutes, I will start to make the spaetzle or spaetzle or whatever you call it. All right, we'll be back. I'm almost embarrassed to show this to you, but I wanted to make spaetzle or spaetzle or whatever you call it, which is egg and flour and salt and a little bit of butter. And they say to put it through a colander with 1/4 inch slots, and I didn't have a colander. This is all that that is all that I had. And I hope, and a little bit of pray perhaps, that I'm going to have some spaetzle. Look at that. That looks pretty good to me, folks. I'm going to go ahead and drain that. And oh goodness gracious, I think it looks pretty good. It came out. So I improvised. Now I'm going to drain that and butter it, and then the chicken paprika should be coming out here shortly. All right, I think my mom would be rather proud of me. Look at that. That's all drained and ready to be buttered. And I say my mom would be proud of me because she taught me. Mom taught me how to cook up there in the kitchen and just outside of Cleveland, Ohio. So, Mom, if you're watching this, I hope this is bringing a smile to your face today, and that wish you were here to join me having this. But let's go ahead and look at the main attraction. Now, when I told Mom that I was going to make this the other day, she asked me if I'm making her chicken paprikash recipe. And I'm sorry, Mom, but I wanted to go with the Cook's Illustrated, and let's see how it turned out. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that looks good. And it smells good. It smells really, really good. Let's get that out of the oven. Well, we are almost done. I was just reading the instructions, and it says to transfer the chicken to individual plates, but for the sake of this, I opted to go ahead and transfer it to a baking dish, if you will. And the next thing is you take the sour cream and you mix the sour cream with the remaining half tablespoon of paprika. So that the sour cream being, it was 1/3 of a cup of sour cream. So I've mixed that with the half a tablespoon of paprika. Then it says to stir a few tablespoons of hot sauce into your sour cream. So what I'm assuming they're talking about is this here. So stir a few tablespoons into that to temper it. I'm not quite sure, to be quite honest with you, what they mean by temper, but I'm going to go ahead and stir that into there. And then they say to stir the mixture back into the sauce, into the pot. Spoon the sauce and peppers over chicken, sprinkle with parsley, and serve immediately. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have ourselves a little chicken paprikash here on a Sunday night in beautiful Fort Myers. Oh boy, does this look good. Now it's starting to get some of the color that I recall, similar to my mom's recipe, and it looks fantastic. I can only hope that it tastes half as good as it looks. So we're gonna put some chicken on the plate and serve this up while it's nice and hot. Boy, this is gonna be good. All right, the moment you've all been waiting for. Well, maybe not all you have been waiting for, but the moment that I've been waiting for. My chicken paprikash. And it came out, I don't know how well you can see this, but boy, it came out really, really good. It looks good. I haven't tasted it yet. And as I was sitting down to eat, I found myself thinking of a story, a kind of a fun story. When I was a young man of 19 or 20, I met an uncle of mine, a Hungarian uncle named Steve, or Istvan in Hungarian. And I met Steve, and I went to have dinner with him the first time, and his wife cooked us a dinner, and we sat down to have dinner, and very nice table setting. And my uncle looked across the table and he said, "Tom, use your napkin," rather sternly. So I picked up my napkin, and I thought it was odd because I hadn't even taken a bite yet. And I picked up my napkin and I wiped my mouth and I put it back down, and my uncle looked up from his soup just a few moments later, And again, he looked across the table and he said, "Damn it, boy, use your napkin." And there I went again, and I was confused. I was all confused. So I wiped my mouth again, and he looked at me and he said, "Put your napkin on your lap." And that's what I did, and that's when I learned that that the napkin is to be left is to be put on your lap. So let's see how this tastes. I think it's going to taste really good. I don't know that it'll taste as good as Mom's chicken paprikash, but I'd be willing to bet, nonetheless, that it's still going to taste pretty darn good. And I'm going to get just a little bit of everything on this fork to give it a taste. Now I'll use my napkin. Boy, that is good. That's really, really good. And you know what's even better? I've got leftovers for a couple nights. That's right. That's one of the benefits of living alone. Plenty of leftovers. Never a problem. You know, never a problem having enough to eat. If you make a big enough recipe, there's always something. Always something left over for the next day. So anyway, hope you folks all have a great day, or evening, or morning, or wherever you find yourself, whatever time you find yourself watching this video. Take good care. All right, and see you later. I think that's how. Actually, in Hungary they say hello. To say goodbye, you say hello. They'll say hello, pussy, something like that, which is pussy is kisses. So anyway, take good care. All right, bye bye.